And in the show Godfather of Harlem, which by the way is a great show, like you said, you sort of see the whole crazy, like the in the shower with the umbrella, and he talks about how he's acting crazy because he'd rather go to an asylum than to prison, and the feds were already on him. So you're talking about when you met up with him, he had the crazy act right along with you in the middle of Houston Street.
That's correct. Look, people have asked me all the time, do you think he was crazy? And I said, look, he wasn't crazy. But to act crazy and get away with it for that many years, you got to have a little something inside of you to do it. But, look, Chin protected himself. I mean, it wasn't until very late in the game that Chin went off to jail when, the racketeering laws and everything just caught up with him. But Chin didn't go to prison because he was very protective of who he met. It wasn't so much the crazy act. To me, it was more the way he conducted himself. Like I said, he didn't care who you are, who you were. If he didn't want to meet with you, he wouldn't. And he was very guarded as to who he would meet, who he would talk to. He never really got caught on wiretaps or, with informants around him with bugging devices. So he was very careful the way he needed to be about how he acted. The crazy thing, in the end, it didn't work. So, he might have acted that way for a long time, but I think it was more the way he positioned himself in that life that kept him out of trouble for so long.
Right. I'm actually looking at his Wikipedia page now, and when you look at his nicknames, of course you have the Chin, but then you have the Odd Father,
right?
The Enigma in the bathrobe, and the Robe. So I guess the bathrobe was a real big recurring kind of theme with this guy.
Yeah, well, he used to walk Houston Street in his bathrobe, unshaven, with his hair all messed up. I mean, that's how I walked with him. It was funny to me. It was, it was unique. But let's put it that way. I never saw anybody pull that off before. But in my conversations with him, and we had a few meetings like that. In my conversations with him, he was very bright, very lucid, and a smart guy. I respected him a lot. I really did.
And for people that haven't been to New York, Houston Street is like a major commercial street.
Yeah, major.
One of the major streets in Manhattan. This is not like a little side street in Little Italy somewhere where you could walk down a bathrobe and it's not a big deal. You're there with a bunch of major stores and traffic going back and forth. So you're attracting a lot of attention if you're on Houston Street in a bathrobe.
That's correct. And I'm sure he did that purposely so that whatever photographs were being taken of him at the time, that's how they saw him.
In The Godfather of Harlem, the five families were dealing with the black gangs in Harlem, which at the time was Bumpy Johnson. Later on, it became Frank Lucas.
Right.
And then after Frank Lucas, who are the other guys? Who's the guy in the fur who ended up telling on everybody?
Well, Frank Lucas did become an informant. I think you know that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He actually. I think he originally drew a 70-year prison sentence, and he got it reduced to 5 years after he agreed to inform. So I don't know of anybody after him that was the informant, but Frank, without a doubt, I mean, that's a matter of record. He was an informant.
Were you guys dealing with any of the black criminal figures in New York during that time, or not so much?
Well, not as much, no. I certainly wasn't. Look, we had black associates and friends, I always got along very well with all the black guys, even in prison, for some reason. But I can't say that we were specifically doing business with them. At least I don't know of anyone at that time that we were specifically doing business with. Trying to think, legitimately, like in the record business, I was dealing with Al Sharpton quite a bit. I dealt with another fella. Now I can't think of his name. That introduced me to two people that eventually I eventually found out they were undercover cops and FBI agents. But we dealt with blacks quite a bit. We had everybody in the music business through Norby Walters. I knew Marvin Gaye back then and Dionne Warwick and all of those people. So we had relationships, and they were always good, always good.
Nicky Barnes was the name I was trying to
find. Yeah, Nicky Barnes. Okay, yeah.
Okay, you ever dealt with him?
I did not, no. Certainly heard of him quite a bit during that time, but never dealt with him.
Yeah, he ended up testifying against everybody, I believe.
That's correct. So it was both him and Frank Lucas that became informants.